All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ben Pulaski getting out to you again, Shape and Sound, with your weekly video of news, updates, and more. So today we are starting off with some news about the oldest representational art ever being found in Indonesia. This painting of three pigs, now thought to be the world's oldest known representational art, has been damaged over the millennia, leaving only one figure intact. The creation is estimated to be about 45,000 years old, or even older. So is kind of an image, the image itself on the top, and then kind of to clarify with the diagram below. You can see where the other two pigs have kind of disintegrated. This discovery in Indonesia throws into question long held beliefs that art originated in Europe, with caves in France and Spain, with work from about 35 to 40,000 years ago. This is a photo of the art discovered at the Chauvet caves in France. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. These were previously recognized as being the oldest, with an estimated age of 35 to 40,000 years. Not too long ago, we talked about a big discovery in South America of some cave art. This discovery was more notable for its size, quantity of representations, and how well it has been preserved. These were about 11 to 12,000 years old. So here are some things to think about with this. Why do they specifically say this is the oldest known example of representational art? What is meant by this choice of words? Why do you think they are clarifying what kind of art it is? Why aren't they just saying the oldest art? Think about that. Think about that for a second. Well, here are some things to go along with that. Representational art means art that is meant to look like something from our real physical world. There are many other forms of creative expression that would be difficult to find evidence of after so many years. For example, dance, performance, music, etc. There is evidence that as long as 130,000 years ago, Neanderthals collected rocks. Some rocks seem to have been collected for their uniqueness, some due to having similarity with human shapes and body parts. So it is possible that collecting is the earliest example of creative expression. This all reminded me of a fun thing that my wife does. For several years now, she has collected rocks that look like noses. She tries to get at least one rock from each hike we go on or trip we take. If she doesn't just collect them, she likes to incorporate them into old artworks, found images, and photographs, and do things like this. It's all very comical. It's all very fun. Just a funny little thing she does that, ties into something humans have apparently been doing for thousands and thousands of years. Okay, in fact, our artist of the week this week is said to have been influenced by the smooth white stones she would find in a stream near her childhood home in rural Japan. And that artist is Yayoi Kusama. We talked about Yayoi in a class session recently, and I figured our students wanted to learn more. Yayoi is a Japanese contemporary artist who works primarily in sculpture and installation, but is also active in painting, performance, film, fashion, poetry, fiction, and other arts. Her work is based in conceptual art and shows some attributes of feminism, minimalism, surrealism, art brut, pop art, and abstract expressionism. She has been acknowledged as one of the most important living artists to come out of Japan. Kusama has one of the longest successful careers of anyone alive today. She first came to more public attention in the 60s when she would organize a series of performance art pieces known as happenings. These happenings of hers involved people getting fully or partially naked in public and being painted with large, brightly colored polka dots. Polka dots were sort of a signature part of her work, and we'll see that a lot over here. As a child, Yayoi Kusama would suffer from hallucinations. Her way of coping with the bizarre phenomena was to paint what she saw. She says the art became her way to express her mental disease. This is most notably seen in her works, Infinity Nets, and she's done a lot of these, based on repetitive patterns and her installations in which she creates elaborate environments overrun with polka dots or tiny points of light. So here's one of those installations referred to as Brilliance of the Souls. All right, she calls these infinity rooms. She has created many of them. Most have different styles and colors of hanging or floating light sources. Some have other common symbols from her work, like pumpkins, but all are designed as this immersive installation that once you step in it, it goes on visually into the infinite. Here's another one with some of her pumpkins, all of the eternal love I have for the pumpkins. Here's her in one of her installations, from one of the first ones that she ever did. These were all hand sewn, and rather than hand sew an infinite amount of them, she started using mirrors to make it just look like they went on to the infinite. Okay. Kusama would often refer to these hallucinations in which patterns would cover everything as self-obliteration. As she explains, one day I was looking at the red flower patterns of the tablecloth on a table, and when I looked up, I saw the same pattern covering the ceiling, the windows, and the walls, and finally all over the room, my body and the universe. I felt as if I'd begun to self-obliterate, to revolve in the infinity of endless time and the absoluteness of space, and be reduced to nothingness. Kusama's obsession with pumpkins traces all the way back to her childhood. She has a vivid memory of the first time she saw one as a child. It was the size of a man's head, and she was captivated by its form. She sometimes characterizes them as an alter ego for herself. More recently, in 2015, she said, I love pumpkins because of their humorous form, warm feeling, and human-like quality. Kusama sticks out to many for her installation, performance, and sculptural work, but she is also an extremely productive painter. Even in her 80s and 90s, she can spend almost every waking hour of a day working on just a small part of an enormous painting. That's her, of course, posing with some of her work. Kusama often sees the viewer as part of the work and even a collaborator of sorts. This is perhaps most evident in her series of works entitled Obliteration Room. In these works, the room starts off as being completely stark white. Then visitors are invited to place colorful polka dot stickers all over the room. Over time, a collaborative piece is made. The images above are from an installation in the Cleveland Museum of Art in 2018. If you're looking for places to continue your exploration of yayoi, you can check out either this movie or the graphic novel. There is some mature or adult content in both, so just be aware of that. Maybe you want to check it out before you let all of your kids get into them. But there is also lots of other books. Some of it just has pictures of her work. Some of it is a little bit more of her story. There's an almost infinite amount of these, it seems. All right, so now getting into our immediate stuff with Shape and Sound. Here we've got 3 things on the calendar for this week. We've got a parent art social. We are continuing our digital art series talking about pixel art. And then on Saturday, we've kind of got a recap on all the digital art that we've been talking about. And we're actually offering that twice. That'll be offered that Saturday as well as the following Wednesday. I wanted to give 2 opportunities for that one. So the Parent Art Social, this is just a real casual event. I just want to get and have an opportunity to get to know parents a bit more and give them an opportunity to ask me questions that they have about the program. We'll talk about some art a little bit. We'll probably play some games. It's all meant to be very casual and fun. So please come to that if you can. Students are welcome to hang out, but it is mostly intended for parents. On Wednesday, we'll continue our digital art series talking about pixel art, and we'll be using a program through pixelart.com. It's a different spelling on pixel for the program, so if you do want to check that out ahead of time, you certainly can. But it is a free program. It's a lot like the other program that we used. If students want to save their work, they do need to set up an account, but it is all free. And then, like I said, on Saturday, we'll be kind of doing a recap of the digital art stuff that we've been talking about so far. We'll use the Pixlr program. We'll use the Pixel Art program. I'm sorry that those programs have such similar names, but hopefully we can make sense of that. I don't know if I'll be able to go into as much detail in this recap, but we'll certainly get into some stuff and have some fun. And then just finally, before we call it a day, if you have not already done so to set up your one-on-one sessions with me, please do so. Email me at shapeandsoundarts@gmail.com, and we can set that up. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good day.